Hello, it's story time. Figured I'd read the story from this book. So I got it out there on my tube, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, here, bear with me. I'm going to try to read this out. During their residence in the East, the Ojibways had a distinct tradition of having annihilated a tribe whom they denominate mundua. Their old men who I have questioned on the subject do not all agree in the location nor the details. Their disagreements, however, are not very material, and I will proceed to give verbatim the version of Ka Nin Dama Winiso, the old chief of Sandy Lake. There was at one time living on the shores of a great lake a numerous and powerful tribe of people. They lived and congregated in one single town, which was so large that a person standing on a hill which stood in its center and could not see the limits of it. This tribe, whose name was mundua, there was a fierce and warlike, and their hand was against every other tribe, and the captives from whom they took in war were burned with fire as offerings to their spirits. All surrounding tribes lived in great fear of them, till their Ojibway brothers called them to council and sent the Wampum War Club to collect the warriors of all the tribes with whom they were related. A war party was thus raised, whose lines of warriors reached as they marched in single file as far as the eye could see. They proceed against the great town of their common enemy, to put out their fire forever, the surrounding and attack them from all quarter, where their town was not bounded by the lake shore. And though overwhelming in their numbers, yet the Munda had such confidence in their own force and prowess that on the first day they sent back their boys to repel the attack. The boys being defeated and driven back on the second day, the young men turned out and beat back their assailants. Still, the Ojibways and their allies stood their ground and gradually drove them in, till on the eve of the second day, they found themselves in possession of half a great town. The Munduas now became awake to their danger. On the third day, beginning to consider it serious business of their old and tired warriors, mighty men of valor, sang their war songs, and putting on their paints and ornaments of battle, they turned out to repel their invaders. The fight this day was hand to hand, and there was nothing in traditionary accounts equal to the fierceness and the struggle described in this battle. The bravest men probably in America had met one party, fighting for vengeance and glory and renown, and the other for everything dear to man, home, family, love, and for very existence itself. The Mundua were obligated at last to give way. Hotly pressed back by their foes, women and children threw themselves into and perished in the lake. At this juncture, for their good-aged chief, who had witnessed the unavailing defense of his people, who saw the grounds covered with the bodies of his greatest warriors, called with a loud voice on the Great Spirit for help. For besides him being chief of the Mundas, he was also a great medicine man and a juggler. Being a wicked people, the Great Spirit did not listen to the prayer of their chief for deliverance. The aged medicine man then called upon the spirits of the water and of the earth, and who are under the spirits of the great spirit of evil, and immediately a dark and heavy fog arose from the bosom of the lake, and covered in folds and darkness in sight of the vanquished town, the scene of the bloody battle. The old chieftain, by his voice, gathered together the remnants of the slaughtered tribe, and under the cover of the evil spirit's fog, they left their homes forever. The whole day and night ensuing, they traveled and escaped from their enemies until a gale of wind, which the medicine man of the Ojibway had asked the Great Spirit raise, so drove away the fog, and to the surprise of the fleeing Mundua was extreme when they found themselves standing on a hill in their desert town. in their deserted town, in plain view of their enemies. Then it was the will of the Great Spirit that we should perish, exclaimed their old chief. But once more they dragged their wearied limbs into a hopeless fight. They ran into adjacent forests where they burned, buried with the women and the children into the ground, but leaving a small appenditure to enable them to breathe. The men then turned back and once more met their pursuing foes in last mortal combat. They fought stoutly for a while again overpowered by numbers, they turned and fled, but in different directions from the spot where they had secreted their families. But few men escaped, and who afterwards this returned and discerned the women and children, a small remnant of once powerful tribe, were the next year attacked by an Ojibway war party and taken captive, and incorporated into this tribe. The individuals are pointed out to this day who are the mundua descendant and who are now members of the respected family whose totem is Martin. I love that story, man. Got two medicine men. Wah, wah, wah. Fog and winds and shit. Weird, get what goes around comes around. Type shit. Dope ass story. I'm happy that I had the chance to share that with y'all. Holla at me.